Hi, Ed and Linda Wilkinson, and we were asked to help launch the school. There's a unique relationship that we have with founders and the idea of a school that goes back quite a ways.
In 1977, I actually was a public school teacher, and I thought that I would really like to start a school. And I started the school in our living room in El Granada with 6 kids, although for the newspaper article, I borrowed 3 from the neighborhood. Okay, so we really only had 3 enrolled. But that's how it started. And then through the years, it grew and grew. Many marvelous things happened as a result of that school. In 2009, our dear daughter moved to the state of Washington, and she kept coaxing us to come up there. And we finally bought the bullet and went. And that was 15 years ago. And most of my work has been, picking peaches and cherries and doing stuff like that.
We were members of a parish. Christ the Teacher school began in that parish. It was Holy Family Parish, Yakima. And because of our background, we were asked to be on the executive board of Christ the Teacher School. And we were also asked to be on the bishop's committee for the entire diocese, which covered the entire state of Central Washington. So we kept a finger in education, in the Catholic education scene, both administratively and helping launch a school there. And that brought us back to look at Catholic education. We were asked to do some research, and we went to 2 schools in Southern California that were classical Catholic schools to become a potential model for our Yakima school. And as things came around, we were hired here. So it's how there's so many connections that are behind under the surface of the story. As we've matured in our own journey of faith and our own educational journey, we have come to see how faith is a pillar of education that is lacking in most settings. Our Lady the Pillar Academy is a way to bring it front and center, and that inspires us. We both think kids need to know the question science can't answer, which is, where did we come from and where are we going? And I think it's important that kids hear about God, they hear about Jesus, and they hear about a path that will knit their lives together and give it meaning. So this school adds that element. Faith, reason, and virtue are the 3 pillars of Our Lady the Pillar. The most important thing is faith, and that's what is at the center of Our Lady the Pillar Academy. And I think that's what has drew us. Coming off the bench, retired 15 years, coming off the bench into the field of play, and really trying to craft a new school with a new concept, which is based on faith, reason, and virtue. We take seriously the education of the whole child, head, hands, and heart. There's a thread that arcs through the entire history of man, and classical education is humans trying to pursue truth, beauty, and goodness. Latin, language arts, writing, history, science. We have a science team.
We do have a drama specialist. We have a dance specialist. We have an art specialist.
It's so beneficial also to have multi-graded cross-age tutoring, olders helping youngers looking up to the olders. So those are kind of hidden elements of a school setting like the one we have here. So things like that. Take the classroom walls and expand them out. In a classical education, The student is the driver of their learning by the questions that they're asking and the interaction they're having with the teacher together. So culinary creativity, unbelievable. Beauty starts in the presence of God in the church. I think beauty in song is another thing that is strong here. And of course, the beauty of talking about and living out virtue and struggling with how do you show mercy? What is kindness? And how did we do today?
Well, part of it, of course, is the individualized instruction and the care that each child receives.
It's a package of education that is unmatched and special.
There are so many things great about Mr. Wilkinson.
Mr. and Mrs. Wilkinson have dozens of traits.
My favorite thing about Mr. Wilkinson is his personality.
And my favorite thing about Mrs. Wilkinson is I still remember she would bring homemade lunches to school.
And they are both great teachers.
And the way they teach the kids, always with a big smile.
My favorite thing about Mrs. Wilkinson is
She's very nice. Their goodness. Mrs. Wilkinson taught me in Brooklyn how to make raisins.
Well, I worked with the Wilkinsons a long time ago, my first year of teaching at Wilkinson School. And I have to say the flag salute has not ever changed.
I really like the way he does flag salute. It's really fun.
He teaches music class. He teaches us his songs. I love him because his jokes.
And I think he's awesome because he's very experienced at what he does.
He's really good at teaching.
And because of songs. Because of his hikes. The birthday report. He teaches PE. The field trips we go on.
He's a kid who loves kids.
Has maintained his childlike joy.
Very joyful.
And is the one-on-one attention he gives to each student.
Things that actually built life skills and opened our eyes to the world beyond just the classroom.
He also taught my older siblings.
They invited us into their home to teach us formal etiquette at a homemade plated meal. Cheers.
They teach us the virtues.
It was never just about grades or scores. It was always about helping us grow as real people.
Best role model of virtue for all of us here.
And I love the two of them together. I love their love for education and for each other and the merits that they have.
Thank you for instilling a love of dramatic arts and our country.
And thank you for taking us on trips around the world.
A community of travel and exploration of the world that they helped cultivate, including deep connections with the people and places that we went.
And for my 4 intensive studies trips that gave me a love of history.
I don't think the Wilkinsons really realize what a huge impact that they've made on the community and many generations of kids.
Mr. and Mrs. Wilkinson, on behalf of countless people, thank you so much for coming out of retirement and helping us get this school started. We love you.